I actually can't describe how I'm feeling. It's actually unbelievable. Just to come here to start and believe a win goal before that should happen is just on a different level. It really is.
And what a final, a unanimous decision went your way there. What a fight. Take us through it.
Unbelievable. Just the coaches need so much credit for it. See the game plan, it was unbelievable and I knew it was working. I came back the first round and they were both buzzing. And they're never usually like that. You usually have to do more and more, but they were buzzing and they just keep picking up and thankfully I did.
And where do you think it was won against and what do you think was the difference?
I think my body shots were slowing down and they were more eye-catching as well, but he was very tough. He's been about, this is like his third European final, so he's experienced. He knew to keep coming. I'm just glad I was able to bite through and keep going.
And it's not the first time you've met him either, so it must be nice.
No, 2 years ago in the European Championships he beat me in the semis 5-0, and it just shows I've grown so much as a boxer and as a man. In the last 2 years I've matured big time, and it's good to see hard work really does pay off.
And obviously we've seen the referee lift your hand a number of times this week, but how special was that in that gold medal final?
I can't explain it. It was just unbelievable. Just everything coming through. It's hard to explain.
And then Aaron Naveen ringing out in Belarus.
I know. It's mad. You have these dreams of it happening, and when you're going to come here, it's always your aspirations for it to happen. But when it actually does happen, you don't know what to do. You just feel so happy. And it's unbelievable.
So Tokyo 2020, is that where we're looking now?
100%. It's always been my goal, but I'm 100% confident I'll be there, and I'm 100% confident I get medal. That's a fact.
And what a boxing team we have here. 6 medals going home, but unbelievable performances across the board.
I know. So many people could have had medals and so many people could have had gold medals as well. And the likes of Kelly was injured, Michaela's was close. And people who even didn't get medals were that close, could have had gold medals.
Yeah.
It just shows how strong our boxing team is and our system is working perfectly.
It absolutely does. That is Kurt Walker, the gold medalist from the European Games in Minsk, speaking to the Team Ireland crew over there in the wake of his being awarded that gold medal in the bantamweight division. It was a fantastic week for Irish boxers and Irish boxing over in Minsk, with bronze for Regan Buckley, Gráinne Walsh and Michael Nevin, silvers for both Michaela Walsh and Kelly Harrington, and that gold for Kurt Walker. To reflect on all that and lots more besides, we're joined on the line by the former middleweight champion of the world and an Irish Olympian in his own right, Andy Lee. Andy, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Richie. Good to be back.
It's nice to be talking about such good news as well, because this week, I don't know if anybody really has many expectations heading into a European Games. They're kind of still an event that's finding its feet. But from an Irish boxing perspective, everyone has pretty much come home smiling from this.
Yeah, and boxing is the one sport within the game that it's really strong. Most countries will send, all the countries will send their number one teams. And to come back with those medals and a gold for Kurt Walker, it's a fantastic result, and it, like he said, that does show the depth and strength within the team, and that they have the system and it's working. And it just takes time. Sometimes it's not always going to work, and I know that they're coming for criticisms, but I guess they just back themselves. And with someone like Kurt Walker, who's been around the team for a while now, with other people turning pro or falling out of the team, I guess some of the attention has been shifted to him, and they're bearing the fruits of that now, because he's shown that he's world class.
Yeah, Kurt's really benefiting from the fact that a certain Michael Conlan happens to turn pro, because in the bantamweight division it was always Conlan for the past number of years until the pro ranks came calling, that was standing in his way of essentially representing the elite team at these events.
Yeah, and I guess it's testament to the coaching, because to replace Michael Conlan, that's a huge void left there. But they believe in themselves, the coaches. Zora Anthony, he's shown again that he can produce medals, and the attention that he's given Kirk has produced a gold medal. And who knows what he can do in the Olympics. Now there is he'll have to move up a couple of kilos for the Olympics, up to 57 kilos, but he's still got a year to do that, and I'm sure that'll be his goal.
It seems generally, because there were weight issues, I know, around Paddy Barnes probably 4 years ago heading into the Olympics, then again 3 years ago, whereby he was finding it hard to make his weight. Is it easier to take the step up, as Kurt Walker will have to do, than it would be for Paddy Barnes, who really had to work hard to trim down?
I think it depends on the individual in terms of the size and the body fat and how much they have to play with in terms of those two things. It's certainly easier to go up, but when you do go up, you're fighting bigger guys, so the competition is harder. It's easier for you personally, because you can be a little bit more free with your diet. You can probably train a different way and put on a little bit of bulk, but then you're fighting naturally bigger men or women who will punch harder and fight harder and put more pressure on you. So there's a payoff there. But like they've known that he'll have to go up in weight, especially now with him becoming a gold medalist. There'll be extra focus put on him, and so they'll do it right over the course of the next year to put on that extra muscle, and for it to be effective, sport specific muscle, they'll do it. And I'm sure they'll do it right. They'll have everyone working on that.
Generally, things seem far better and far settled than this time in the Olympic cycle than they were last time round, because we had the whole Billy Walsh issue last time round. We had, as I mentioned, people struggling to make certain weight divisions, the uncertainty over certain AIBA things and judging and all that kind of stuff. Whereas now, 6 medalists coming home from Minsk, we're potentially would have been looking at another gold at Kelly Harrington's hands played ball yesterday morning. Things are good, seemingly.
And this is a team depleted of Brandon Irvine, who's a Rio Olympian, he's still a young man, but he's a veteran within the team now, who pulled out through injury, and Joe Ward, who turned pro just before the game started. So those two would have been favourites for medals. So it could have potentially be 8 medals that they were coming home with. And in terms of the Irish team, the high performance, they seem like Bernard's done a very well, like a good job. He's kind of taking control of it and doing things his way, and it's his way and no way, and everyone kind of is on board now with him. But in terms of the governance of the sport, it's in a complete mess. The IOC recently upheld a suspension given to AIBA, who are the governing body of boxing, that AIBA will no longer be involved in Olympic boxing within the Olympics. So their Olympic status they've been suspended as an Olympic governing body. So it's a little bit up in the air as to when and how these men and women are going to qualify for Tokyo. There's a World Championships coming up at the end of the year. That would have been generally the biggest one to decide who was qualifying for the Olympics, but now it's not even certain if that will be a qualifier. I don't think it will be. They're talking about having qualifiers in March to January of
next
2020.
Spring is what we're hearing the most likely outcome for potential qualifiers, which it doesn't really, it's the uncertainty that doesn't suit anybody more than anything else.
Yeah, and that's, in some ways, to go off the subject, you can kind of see the validity in Joe Ward going professional at this time, unsure of that the Olympic boxing will be at the Olympics, and that if he did go on and commit for another year, why he would turn pro, and if I don't like not to throw the cat amongst the pigeons, but if someone was to offer Kurt Walker a big contract now, he'd have a tough decision, even though he'd probably be favoured for maybe not a gold medal, but he's definitely favoured to medal. You can't underestimate how hard it is to win a European medal, let alone a gold medal, because every country within Europe are very, very good at boxing. And so, the teams are all very strong. And so to win a gold medal at Europe is a lot of times harder to win a gold medal at the Worlds or the Olympics, because you can always fight a country that don't have they're not strong in boxing, and they might just send somebody to represent them. And then you can get a couple of easy fights, and then you're into a medal fight. But in the Europeans, every fight is hard. And so it's not to take away from Kurt's achievement. So I don't know, it's an interesting time for amateur boxing in terms of the governance, but in terms of where it was before the Rio Olympics, we're in a lot better place, and it has to be down to Bernard Dunn and the coaches and the Irish Amateur Boxing Association have given Bernard the authority to do what he has to do. Yeah,
you mentioned Joe Ward turning pro. Paddy Donovan, who you work with obviously as well, would have turned pro in the last few weeks as well and gone and signed with Top Rank. Was that level of uncertainty something that he was toying with? Was that part of his consideration when he decided to join Top Rank?
Not so much. I think with Paddy, and he spoke to me about it, it was just the corruption and the decisions that the IOC have taken on board. After every Olympic, there's a review, and there's never been anything done. This is a really strong, to me, it's the right move, even though there's a lot of uncertainty, and there might be, in the short term, some chaos, but for the long term, this is the right move to take control of this and show that they have to be transparent, that AIBA have to be able to broaden, that judges I think they're $17 million in debt, AIBA now. And if you're that, obviously opens you up to corruption. If there's a big country comes in and backs you or donates some money, then you're going to be favourable to that country's fighters. So with Paddy, he'd had a couple of raw decisions, especially abroad. He recently went to Russia, fought the Russian in the European Championships and got points taken away from him when he shouldn't have been. So that was more so with him. But I'm sure with Joe and with other fighters, the uncertainty of no Olympics is one of the reasons that they might turn pro.
It would be a disappointing thing to see the likes of Kurt Walker and so on perhaps tempted away, but on the other hand, like you mentioned there, like I remember being on the plane out to Rio 3 years ago, and there was discussions before everything broke, and obviously before an Irish boxer ever stepped into the ring, that things weren't on the up and up, and that these question marks hovered over. And when you see the AIBA stuff over the course of the last year, particularly, and that Rahimov being in and out as president, there being talks that another Russian is looking to essentially pay off their debt to make sure that everything is able to go ahead as planned. You can't blame the IOC for stepping in here and wanting to wrestle controls, but again, it's that vacuum, and we've seen it a little bit with the FAI. It's what comes afterwards. There's still an uncertainty of as regards what way things are going to be formulated after that, and are they going to actually be as dysfunctional?
Exactly, and who knows? Like, boxing has always kind of attracted these, these type of characters, and corruption in boxing have always seemed to go hand in hand. It seems, even in the professional game. But people think it's more, but trust me, it's a lot more apparent when you're in the amateur game and you go into those countries in Eastern Europe and you're just watching the decisions. Like you know what's going on, and it has to go back to Rio, to Michael Conlan, to that decision against the Russian boxer, and this has just kind of been a chain of events that's followed that, and I think it stemmed down to Michael Conlan taking such a public stance, and one that went around the world in terms of him putting the fingers up to the judges, and those images and how loudly they spoke.
Speaking of Conlan, he's seen Nikitin, as you mentioned there, pull out of their potential rematch, which is going to take place up in Belfast in the start of August. Another new opponent coming in, not the most ideal of circumstances for Conlan, but at least he has, I guess, 6 weeks to kind of prepare for things.
Yeah, and it kind of takes away from the whole, just the narrative around the fight that this was the revenge fight. Nikitin had been signed, I'm not sure if it'll ever happen now, but he had been signed specifically by Top Rank in order so that they would get the rematch with Michael. And he, like Nikitin, the Russian, is struggling. I think he's had 4 or 5 professional fights. He's really struggled in those fights, and some of them he's probably got a couple of gimme decisions just to keep him undefeated, so that when him and Michael do fight, it will be a bigger story. But now he's torn his bicep, and I'm not sure. Michael might want to go on there and actually have proper, meaningful fights. But I don't know. I heard a couple of guys putting the names forward. Anthony Carcacci from Belfast. There's some talk of a French fighter stepping in who's quite good, a European level fighter. So they'll know what they're doing. With Michael and with Adam Booth coaching and picking these opponents, they'll have somebody who will be a test, because if you're at top of the bill, you'll have to fight somebody. But I'm sure Michael will be able to handle him.
How are things coming along with Paddy, by the way? We mentioned Paddy Donovan there.
Yeah, Paddy's doing very well. We were training today. We were training in Portlaoise down at Pat Ryan's gym, and he's coming on. Every day he shows me something that impresses me, so it's exciting. I'm going to the gym with a good buzz, and he's learning and he's improving. And he got a little cut about 4 weeks ago, so that's unfortunate in sparring. So he's just going to have to let that heal, and hopefully he will make his debut before the end of the year. Yeah. But just before we wrap up, Richie, probably be remiss of me if I didn't mention Kevin Sheehy.
I was just literally going to get to it as well. Yeah. Very sad news, and a former clubmate of yours too.
Yeah, not that I knew him very well. Him being a clubmate of mine, I would have met him. I'd say I met him a handful of times. Always very quiet, confident and focused, but very, very nice and humble, and I can only describe him as a gentleman. And a very, very talented boxer, and a huge loss to Limerick and Ireland in the boxing community. It's such a shocking news to wake up to this morning, and obviously thoughts go out to him and to his family, and to all at St. Francis Boxing Club. So
absolutely, yeah. Kevin Sheehy, 5-time national boxing champion at youth and elite level. He was tipped to maybe head towards the Olympics in 2024, that kind of direction there, in just 20 years of age, dying in such tragic circumstances as well down in Limerick. Andy, very, very sad news indeed. Yeah,
sad, and everyone, just thoughts go out to his family and that, and it will be such a shock for everybody. Even I woke up this morning to I don't know how many texts about it, and everyone from all over the country. I'm just shocked about it. So it's very sad. Yeah,
very sad news, and sad news to end on. Andy Lee, thanks so much for taking time out this evening.
Thanks, Richie. Cheers. Thanks very much. Did you enjoy Glastonbury?
I was watching it all on TV. There was no chance of me heading over there in the muck of Somerset at this age, Andy.
Did you like Kylie?
Kylie, there's nothing to dislike about Kylie, Andy. I watched the full breadth of things. Watched Kylie, Stormzy, bits of the Fontaines, Michael Kiwanuka. There's like loads of things. Loads of things kept me entertained. And yourself?
Great stuff. Yeah, I like Kylie. my 2-year-old daughter was bopping around the living room, so it was a great crack.
And with that little soundbite alone, we've got our mystery voice sorted out for the next competition that we run on the show too.
All right, Richie, all the best.
You too. Mind yourself, right? Take care.
Bye.